So this is an emergency update. In case you didn't know, the prequel comic to Marvel Spider-Man 2 just came out yesterday, and we're going to talk about a few of the plot details and what that could mean for the actual game. So starting off, Peter is becoming a teacher and is looking for a housemate, but is turned down by MJ, who needs to stay in the city for her work. This is really interesting to me because it shows that Peter is slowly getting his life together. Obviously in Miles Morales it's revealed that Peter inherited Aunt May's house in Queens, so now we're starting to see him actually get a job and start looking for ways to fill his life. And I think that's going to be really interesting because keep in mind, this Peter Parker is probably pushing 30 given the time that's happened since Miles Morales to now, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But he's probably pushing 30, if not he's already in his 30s by the time Spider-Man 2 comes out. So him finally getting his life together is a really big step for the character. As we all know, Peter Parker suffers and suffers. Whatever Peter Parker wants, Peter Parker can't have. So are they giving him some stuff to have us be attached to him, to see him get his life together, see things finally go good for him, just to strip it away with the black suit? I think that's a really interesting way they could go with it. It is kind of a generic route to go with the black suit or was a Spider-Man story in general, but it's the most effective way to tell an emotional Spider-Man story. Next up, we have Miles is joining ASU. This kind of gives us an idea on where the story is set. If you remember in Miles Morales, he was around 15 when he got bit by the spider. So him going to ESU is really interesting because that means, depending on when the events of the first game happened, Miles Morales takes place like a few months after it, or maybe a year after it. Yeah, a lot of time has passed. So Miles going into ESU, that's a big deal. I think it's going to be interesting, and I am kind of sad that it's so far into the future because I was really interested in them telling a young Spider-Man story through Miles, and it looks like we're not going to get that. We're going to get a more college level story when it comes to Miles, and you know, it's fine with that, but I would have preferred them go the other route. Next up, we have MJ's book about the War Centaria had poor cells and it's affecting her mental health. I think they're really setting up MJ to just be this workaholic and start pushing people away in this game. So seeing her mental health be affected by her failure in a book and her inability to sell that book and tell that story that she wanted to tell, I think that's setting up MJ to be this workaholic, and it's just going to push it away, which adds back to my point of Peter's life is finally getting into check and things are just going to start going wrong when we reach Marvel Spider-Man 2. And finally, the thing that made me so happy about this comic, J. Jonah Jameson is going to buy back and run the Bugle. That is amazing. I am so happy. I mean, I love Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, but I hope this allows us to actually go into the Daily Bugle and be a part of that and go in there, because one of my favorite things about the Raimi Spider-Man games is the ability to go inside of the Bugle and just be a part of that atmosphere, and I think that'll be awesome if we can do that in this game. So bringing the Bugle back into the fold, I'm all in on that. Even if it's like just a little section of the game, I would just love for us to go back inside the Bugle and see J. Jonah Jameson. It does feel like they're trying to step back a bit and go back into more familiar territory with it, because keep in mind, by this point, Jonah is retired, and I guess it shows his inability to give up what he wants, and what he wants is to expose Spider-Man as a menace. And him at the Bugle, where in a story where Peter might get the black suit, and we all know what happens when he gets that black suit, he's just gotta be the menace that Jonah wants, and I think it's lining up perfectly. But it does feel like a step back for Jonah in terms of progression. I feel like, I don't know, it feels like one of those things where they were like, oh, we should have had the Bugle. We should have had the Bugle play a bigger part in the story. And, you know, now they're trying to rectify it. That's how I feel. I'm probably wrong. But, yeah. So those are a few things I found interesting about the comics. If you have read it, what were some things that you guys thought was really interesting about what they set up for the game and what's been going on with the Marvel Spider-Man universe since we last saw it in Miles Morales? Leave it down in the comments below, and let me know. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed this emergency video, which I might do every now and then when there's big news dropping about the games, the movies, the shows, whatever it is. So yeah. Also, MJ has not changed clothes since Marvel Spider-Man 1. You just know she reeks of sweat and disgust and so many other things I can't say on YouTube.